send me some verification of a few things on the car, so that I know that it's pretty much intact. And he assured me that it had never been started as far as he could see, or at least on fuel. Maybe somebody started gasoline once or twice along the way, but he told me they had the magnesium stuff on it that was all part of the car when we built it, and that I had sent him a check out there, and he arranged to have the car shipped back to Pennsylvania to me, and that was it. And I didn't, along the way, in 2011, I had bought back that old Hemi Roadrunner of mine, because we found that out in Katanning, and Katanning, Pennsylvania, the guy that I sold it to, had unfortunately kept the car all those years and raced it a lot, and a fair amount at New Bethlehem and Quaker City and a couple other tracks. And he unfortunately passed away in a farm accident on his farm in 2011, and the car kind of found me through coincidence, through car cruises and stuff, and we wound up buying that car back, and it was all there and only 8,000 miles on it, but it was, it was a 30-some-year-old car, so 40-some-year-old car, so we had to do a lot of work on it to get it so it was functional and cleaned up and wiring work and everything. So I also had that car at the time, but now I had two cars when they shipped this Coupe back to me. Then we go on with the story there. Mark Becker and I we spent time on the Coupe and got it running, and Paul Gold and I took it up to New England and to do a first NHRA New England Hot Rod Reunion. A lot of people remember that, and they brought me videotapes and stuff from back in the 80s. And a lot of people asked if we could put the car back on the track. And I said, geez, I don't know about that, because it was missing parts too, missing axles out of the back and some other things. But we thought about it over the season, and got one of the local NHRA tech guys who I knew to come out and figure out what we had to do to get it to be legal to run, and we made a ton of changes on it. Fortunately, it's a full-body car, so we could change some of the tubes and stuff around inside it, and darn if we didn't make the changes from Dave Dominic race cars, and we had a 6-flat certification on it, which is pretty cool when you figure that the old Coupe has stock 34 frame rails on it. They're boxed, and albeit there's only 2 feet of each of the original frame rails left anymore underneath the doors, but it has some 34 components on it still, and it's certified to 6-flat. So that was, and then we decided we're going to change the engine out too, because it had a 392, an iron 392, very nice engine, but still on the car. But with today's tracks and the things that we know, I thought I'm going to do something more robust, so we put a Donovan engine in it, and, which is aluminum, Early Chrysler replica, and with 331 heads at the time, which were the best iron heads, and we're just trying to make it look nostalgic. But so we built a 472-inch Donovan for it, and put it on the track again, and had some handling issues with it that we worked through for a year or two, and it got to be quite popular all over again. It was second time around for it, I guess.
So when you got the Coupe back on the track again, were you driving it?
Yeah, I drove it then, and actually didn't want anybody to drive it until I, was confident enough that it could go straight. And I had another friend that we were down at Bowling Green with the car, and we were working on it, and everything was very hot down there. And he said, "Do you ever see your car run or anything?" And I said, "Yeah, I never have. I've driven everything I always had." And he said, lots of times when you'd go out and see Jungle Jim Liberman, he said, I was driving his car, and he would go up in the stands to watch. I really enjoyed watching his car. Well, that kind of got me thinking a little bit. And Paul Gold, who had been working with me on the car as he had from the very beginning, had a good friend, Joe Morrison from New Jersey, not too far from where we all lived in that area, and he introduced me to Joe, and the wheels started turning, and we thought it might be kind of fun to have somebody else. So we brought Joe out, and he tested the car for us out at New Alexandria, and kind of took to it like a duck to water. He wasn't afraid of it, which most people would be, and started a good 4 or 5 25-year friendship now with Joe, and he's not only just drives a car, but he's part of the family and a great representative for us as well. He's very enthusiastic in everything he does, and he's a great ambassador, for us and for the sport.
And of course, Joe drives the frantic Ford funny car too.
Yeah, Joe got his license in an eight-field dragster out in California, and part of the whole crowd that we used to hang around with in Philadelphia area, Paul Gold and Rocky Perone, and Rocky's dad, Joe Perone, who's passed away since, but we all hung around together, put it that way, and then Goldie still raced cars and everything through the 80s and 90s, and they said he had met Joe and had some plans of his own, but Joe, through Goldie, I'm sure that he met Rocky Perone, who's Joe's son, and Rocky runs the frantic Ford car and the Super Camaro and gassers and things, and he's a good old buddy of mine as well. So Joe would go down to help Rocky, and Rocky's terrific with young people who want to drive cars. If they put the time in and work with him, he'll help them out. So Joe's driven the both of those cars for Rocky, and it's worked out well.
I believe I read that Rocky's not driving the frantic Ford no more, right?
I don't know what they're doing. I think they're kind of changing direction. I don't know. I don't want to comment because I don't know the whole story on where it's going. It will still be around. I know that. How much Rocky's involved in it is, you'd have to ask him. I'm just not quite
right. Yeah, I think
he's going to focus a little bit more on the
Super Camaro. Yeah.
On nostalgic gassers. At least from what I've heard from him anyway. Rocky and I talk a couple times a year when we're at tracks and stuff together, or, hang out at the PRI or something like that. You'd have to ask him what his specific plans are, put it that way.
Right. So now you had mentioned Don Garlits earlier. Who were all your inspirations in drag racing besides Don Garlits?
Well, I don't know. I don't know Garlits other than casual encounters, put it that way. But and when we ran our A fuel car, we didn't run NHRA stuff, and that was later on. Mark Becker and Stu Sandhouse did, and they did pretty well. But to me, it was there were better opportunities. We ran circuits where we ran other junior fuel cars and front engine top gas cars. We beat a twin engine top gas car from Tennessee or Alabama or something like that way back then. But double B funny cars, they call them, which are the blown alcohol funny cars. Now we'd run those guys in circuits, and there was more chance to get paydays that way, and we did pretty well at that. But the guys that used to help us out a lot really were the folks from the Ram Chargers up in Detroit. I guess if there was anybody that was inspirational as far as that goes, it would have been Hoover and a guy named Phil Goulet, who was the crew chief for them. And those guys were really good to us as far as parts. I used to go up there and get nitromethane from them up in Detroit, and made runs up for local guys and get runs of nitro from them. And the hydrometer that we use on our Coupe is to this day is still one that I got from the Ram Chargers. They had mothballed their field dragster in 70, 71 or whatever it was, and had it in the trailer back behind the shop. And I had broken some beakers and hydrometers, and lamented to Phil that I have to get another hydrometer. He said, "Come with me." And he took me out back and opened the trailer up and reached in. He said, "It's a gift from us, for the fuel and parts and stuff you buy." So he gave us so we're still using that hydrometer on our Coupe that was Ram Chargers car. But yeah, they were pretty neat. They were they didn't win every place they went, but they sure are almost always the fastest car. And the car was just their fuel dragster, and then their superstock cars. Before that is really where they started, and then the funny car was just brutally fast when Goldstein drove it, and later Claire Sanders drove the car, and they were just really, really neat cars to run, and very, very good guys to me too. Put it that way. getting parts and things of that nature. And locally, the guys that helped us out were Mike Koski, as I talked about before, who is still running Top Alcohol dragster, and he's a multi-time NHRA champion. I would drive his Top Gas car back in '71 or '2, and it was his back was hurt, and it was an all-aluminum big block Chevy, so another Logie car. So I'd drive that car for Mike when his back was bad, and he just was helping me out with our Coupe in the last couple of weeks doing some fuel system changes. So I've known all these guys for a long while. My licenses were signed by Mike. My first license by Mike and Dominic Santucci, who most people recognize the name D.A. Santucci, won Top Gas NHRA Nationals winner in '69 and thereabouts. He had the Black Magic funny car in later years. Dominic has left us as well, but those are guys that I knew well, looked up to it that way. Now I've got a terrific crew. I'm really quite fortunate. They're all great friends, and everybody very experienced and veteran group of guys from Goldie and Mark Becker, who had fuel dragsters and pro stock motorcycles, and he drives around in a blown Mustang on the street that he built now too. But he's a co-tuner on a car along with Goldie, and then we've got Andy Barron, who has our cute little '29 Model A with a Hemi that we towed our Coupe to the line with him. He's a terrific mechanic as well, and a great friend. And Porky Burkett comes with us a lot for the last couple of years, and he'll do anything we ask, and he's kind of our jokester on the group. And then we've got other folks. Goldie's son will come out to California. We're out there, and I've got more local friends around here that'll help me out anytime I need. So pretty good core group of guys that help us out with this with the Coupe. It takes a small army to run it, that's for sure.
So now, Ted, back when you started drag racing, was your family supportive of you?
I don't think they didn't care much, to tell you the truth. My dad was into sports, and as I said, he used to spend an awful lot of time with me, as dads do, in baseball and football and things of that nature, and go to all the, played for a great high school football program here in Western Pennsylvania, and baseball as well. I had the longest string of no-hit innings in Western Pennsylvania baseball history at the time, probably should have done that more, but I like football better than having the history. But he came out to there. My dad came out to track a couple times. We were on local tracks. I think it scared the heck out of him, to tell you the truth, to see his kid out there going a couple 100 mile an hour and a quarter mile. But they didn't discourage it. I'll put it that way. I think let me do as I wanted to do. Put it that way. Certainly no financial support or anything, but I did ask them.
So now, let me ask you this question, Ted. What was the experience like for you to get behind the wheel for the first time of the Coupe?
Boy, it's kind of daunting because I was used to, front motor dragsters and things where the visibility is so much greater. And fortunately, I'd been in fast cars before, so it wasn't that wasn't the problem, but it was more, you're pretty much penned in the car, and it's a very, we did everything we could to make it a very safe car. It's got, a legal NHRA cage on the driver, but we also have a perimeter cage on it too that follows the roof line of the car, so it's a cage within a cage kind of construction. But you're in the car, and your windshield's chopped, and you've got the blower scoop, so you have to look down the track. You can't look off to the sides or anything, or else you're going to probably not drive it straight. The trick is to be looking project way out ahead of you. Other than that, it's just stab and steer, and you can't sense the rear tires smoking or anything, but you can feel it, and that's part of the having experience driving the things. Put it that way. Same thing with guys that drove funny cars with. Only our visibility's not as good as on a funny car, and because of the way the length of the nose on it, and it doesn't slope down like a funny car, and having a blower scoop in there doesn't help too much either. But it pulls like a freight train. Once you get hooked up, it pulls really quite hard, and this is kind of a different way we run now. When we first started building the car, we basically just pulled up line and smoked the tires. That's what people wanted to see. And as I said earlier, the tracks are better now, so we had to kind of adapt to that. We had to put more power in the engine, and we use the transmission. Got a 2-speed in it, so we'll use the transmission and slide the clutch to watch it. So we kind of do a combination of show and performance as well. We don't always let the car out. We don't. It's about the show.